Hi everybody, Russ on the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new and give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it that bloody good subscribe. Grey day, very grey and muggy day and foggy day in Hornchurch, and a grey day for West Ham, wasn't it, on Saturday? And now we've got 6 weeks. Now we've got 6 weeks to stew on it. But anyway, go back and check out my ratings. Anton did a review show on Sunday with Matt. Go and check that out as well. And yeah, check my ratings out, which I did at lunchtime today. And disagree with them because you always do, because that's we are. We're West Ham. We all got different opinions, haven't we? We've all got different opinions. Anyway, I bring to you the Hammers headlines in association with KUMB.com. It's the 14th of November. I've got a month till I go on holiday. I can't wait. And I've got 3 stories. And I've got 2 transfer stories and 1 potential exit story. Let's start with the transfer stories first. Let's start with this gentleman. Apparently, West Ham are keeping an eye to make a move to sign Shakhtar Donetsk centre-back. Whew, it's a tough one for a Monday. Mikhailo Matvinenko. Yeah, that will do. In the January transfer window. That's according to a report from 90 Minutes, who claim the Hammers face competition from the likes of Brighton for the 26-year-old's signature. We were actually linked to him, I remember, in the summer. He's a Ukrainian international, 54 caps, I want to say. And actually, January, I think we linked. He's someone who we've always kept very similar to like Aged and Zuma. He's always been on that sort of radar. But apparently, he's remained at Shakhtar Donetsk until the end. Clearly, in my opinion, the defence needs sorting out. We're conceding far too many goals, and that's already putting then pressure on a firing line which isn't firing. So I think it's important, and particularly also, the likes of Ogbonna, Craig Dawson, they're 34 and 32 respectively. The word is that Craig is obviously, he was almost out the door in the summer transfer window, but we couldn't get a replacement, so he didn't go. But there's, I think there's some sort of gentleman's agreement that if we do get a replacement in, he will be allowed to go back and move to a club not close to his family, which is, I totally agree. It's not, there's something beyond football sometimes. So definitely a younger centre back is needed. There's some interesting points about Mikhailo. I'm going to just call him Mikhailo rather than Matvinenko, because I don't even think that's how you pronounce his name, which might allude to potentially being a long-term replacement for Aaron Cresswell. Again, himself, I know the club have activated a 1-year extension, hasn't been announced yet, but that's been widely reported by several news sources. But left back is an issue. We know there's a lot of, particularly I'm thinking about the Crystal Palace game, got a lot of joy down that left-hand side. So that is a thing we need to address. He's only 5'11". So he isn't the tallest of centre backs, but we've seen how well Martinez has developed at Man United. He had a bit of a ropey first couple of games, but has developed as a really strong centre back now. But what is interesting is he's left-footed and comfortable with the ball at his feet. He's a fantastic passer. He's got Champions League experience with Shakhtar. He's averaged almost 74 passes a game with almost 89% completion. So a lot of good passing. He's also the kind of defender who thrives on a back 3, and ding, 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 he can operate as a left back. In the same way that T.A. Kira, I think he came in as a centre back but could operate as a right back. This guy is a centre back who can operate as a left back. I know Aged can also play left back as well, but I think Aged is more suited into the centre back position. Maybe this guy's could transition to a sort of Aaron Cresswell role. So we play a back 3, he plays on the left of the centre backs, but when we're playing a back 4, he plays left back potentially. He's not going to come cheap. Sky Sports claimed that Shakhtar will demand around 30 million quid for him in the January transfer window. It's a lot of money to pay for someone who's relatively unproven in the Premier League. Maybe 20 million, maybe more, a fair price. He's 26, he's got his best years ahead of him, in the same ilk as someone like Zuma or an Aged coming through. Several years you could have him potentially with a club. But wait to see if Shakhtar will agree to some sort of deal at that price. But worth keeping an eye out. For him. Another interesting, exciting potential news is apparently West Ham scouts were watching Brazilian youngster Jeffinho, but I'm going to call him Jeff, during Botafogo's win over Santos over the weekend, and were apparently very impressed by what they saw. That's according to Brazilian journalist Jose Passini, who claimed the Hammers could face competition from Newcastle for the 22-year-old signature in the January transfer window. In October, it was revealed West Ham had started a new scouting network in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, as they tried to find some young, promising talent to bring to East London and develop and, almost a form of production line, it seemed. But as I said, this could be the first of many. David Moyes has a lot, we know, work to do over the next sort of 5 or 6 weeks, preparing for the January transfer window particularly. And pace is another issue. I think, we don't have any really pacey wingers particularly. And the addition of someone like Jeff, who's got, pace is very tricky, is definitely much needed at West Ham, just to improve the excitement as well at West Ham, I think. It seems, he claimed West Ham, the journalist Jose Passini claims that West Ham were blown away by the 22-year-old's display against Santos over the weekend. He's so far bagged 4 goals and 7 assists in 39 games, so not necessarily the goal scoring machine or the assist machine, but maybe, I don't know. He becomes very highly rated in Brazil. He's got, as I said, a lot of pace, a lot of trickery, a lot of flair. Obviously, very rough around the edges, as you can imagine. Moves to the Premier League, obviously, be a jump up in quality. But you imagine you'd get him for a lower price than maybe if you were going to Spain to get a Spanish alternative, for example. So it may be a signing that's a bit of a risk, but a risk worth taking for West Ham. Particularly, I think we need that sort of dynamism in the up front, but in the forward positions, and maybe him and Paqueta would work out well. Obviously, Paqueta being Brazilian as well would help in our favour, being a full Brazilian international and going to the World Cup. And finally, one potential out could be Kevin Keane. According to a report in the Sun on Sunday yesterday, he could be set to leave the club. He's on the shortlist to become the new Crawley Town manager. Obviously, he played for West Ham for 10 years. He's been caretaker 3 times, I think, 06, 08. 11, I think. He's also, outside of West Ham, managed Colchester United. He's also been youth team coach back at Liverpool as well. I think he was assistant coach at Liverpool as well at some time. He came back to West Ham in 2019 and has been working with the under-18s at the club ever since. But it now appears that he could get another crack at management in the lower leagues. The Crawley Town manager, Kevin Betsy, left last month, and they're currently 18th in League Two, having won just 4 of their last 17 games in the season so far. It remains to be seen whether the Hammers coach will be approached, but it appears Crawley are keen on him and could ask the Irons for permission to sign him during the international break, potentially. Also on the shortlist was Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, but I don't believe that approach has materialised into an appointment. Well, definitely not into an appointment, but into a formal approach just yet. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. But be sad to see Kevin go. Big fan of him. And obviously Kevin will be at the Vaudeville Promotions class of 92-93, December the first Friday in December. Check it out. It's going to be a really good night, actually. And that's it. And that's it, my friends. So thank you very much for your time. We'll be doing the Hammers headlines regardless of the World Cup. There'll be loads of transfer news. There'll be loads of updates with the players and things like that. So you can keep abreast of that by following the West Ham Network and tuning into the Hammers headlines every day. So take care and stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, stay dry, stay positive, keep the faith. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Ta-ta for now, my friends. Bye-bye.